Welcome to our deep dive on Athena. We're going to be unpacking some seriously fascinating stuff about this Greek goddess, going way beyond the usual, wisdom and war labels. You've sent in a really interesting mix of sources, mythology websites, encyclopedia entries, even some scholarly papers. So we're in for a real treat today.
It's exciting to see such a range of material. It really suggests we're going to uncover some of the lesser-known aspects of Athena, which is always a thrill.
Right. And where better to start than with Athena's grand entrance into the world. We talk about a memorable debut. She springs fully formed and armored from Zeus's head. Can you imagine the other gods just chilling on Mount Olympus?
Yeah.
And suddenly, bam, Athena appears.
It's a powerful image, isn't it? And it really speaks volumes about her unique status. Zeus's favorite, instantly powerful, but perhaps also a bit set apart from the usual divine family drama.
It definitely makes you wonder about her relationship with the other gods,
Mm.
where she's seen as an equal, a threat.
That's a great question. And it ties into the mysteries surrounding her mother Metis. Some accounts say Zeus swallowed Metis whole while she was pregnant with Athena.
Whoa, that's intense. So not only is Athena's birth unconventional, but her very conception is shrouded in this strange act.
Some scholars even argue that Zeus swallowing Metis represents him trying to control wisdom to keep it for himself. But of course it backfires, and Athena emerges wisdom embodied.
That adds a whole new layer to the wisdom goddess title, doesn't it? It's not just a personality trait, it's literally part of her essence. This makes her patronage of Athens even more interesting. It's not just any city she's protecting, it's a city named for her.
Absolutely, and that connection is cemented in the famous contest between Athena and Poseidon for the city's favor. Poseidon offers a saltwater spring, a display of brute force, while Athena gives an olive tree practical life-sustaining and symbolic of her approach to wisdom.
It's almost like she's saying, forget flashy displays of the power. What good is a saltwater spring if you can't eat?
That's a great way to put it. And the olive tree becomes a defining symbol of Athens. It provides food, oil, wood, everything the Athenians needed to thrive.
So she's not just a protector,
Yeah.
she's a provider. It makes you wonder if other cities had chosen different gods as their patrons. Would they have developed in completely different ways?
That's a fascinating thought experiment. But it wasn't just Athens, was it? You've included material on Sparta Thebes,
Yeah.
even Corinth, where Athena's image appeared on coins. Clearly, her influence extended far beyond a single city.
It's clear she was a major player in the Greek world. But what about the war goddess part of her identity? That seems to clash with the image of the wise olive tree-giving protector.
It's an important distinction to make. Athena isn't about war for the sake of war like Ares. She's associated with strategy, with skill, with fighting for just causes.
So she's more like a brilliant general,
Yeah.
not a bloodthirsty berserker.
Exactly. Think of her role in aiding heroes like Heracles and Odysseus. She guides them, provides strategic advice, but never encourages unnecessary violence.
And let's not forget the epithet Parthenos, the virgin. She never marries, never takes lovers. It emphasizes that her power and her focus are entirely her own.
It does, doesn't it? It speaks to her independence, and perhaps even a dedication to a higher purpose.
It almost makes you wonder if the other gods were a little intimidated by her. She's powerful, independent, and clearly brilliant. But then there's this other side to Athena the weaver, the craftswoman. It seems like a surprising juxtaposition.
It's a fascinating aspect of her persona, and it's not just any craft. It's weaving intricate, demanding, requiring both artistry and precision.
It's interesting how this seemingly domestic skill is elevated to a divine level with Athena. And speaking of weaving, there's the famous myth of Arachne, a mortal weaver who dares to challenge a goddess. Talk about bold. What's your take on this story?
It's a powerful tale of hubris, certainly, and it highlights the dangers of pride and arrogance.
Arachne's skill is undeniable, but her boast that she's better than Athena is ultimately what leads to her downfall. Their weaving contest itself is fascinating. Athena depicts the consequences of defying the gods, a clear warning right, while Arachne chooses to show the gods behaving badly towards mortals.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? Athena highlighting the established order, while Arachne dares to critique the very beings she's challenging.
It's almost like Arachne is using her art as a form of protest, which makes Athena's reaction even more intriguing. She doesn't just defeat Arachne. She transforms her into a spider forever weaving. What do you make of that?
Is it punishment? A display of power? Or is there something deeper going on? Some scholars argued that Athena, despite her anger, recognizes Arachne's talent. and in a twisted way immortalizes it by making her the ultimate weaver.
That's an interesting interpretation. It definitely adds another layer to the story. It's not just about a goddess putting a mortal in her place. It's about the complex relationship between creation skill and the power of the divine.
And it leads us to an even more complex question. What about Athena's darker side?
Yeah, we've seen the wise, the strategic, the artistic. But there are definitely moments where Athena shows a ruthlessness that's hard to reconcile with her more benevolent aspects.
Like the story of Tiresias the seer who accidentally sees Athena bathing. She blinds him in a fit of anger, but then grants him the gift of prophecy.
It's a strange mix of punishment and reward. What does the gift of prophecy even mean in this context?
It's a complex concept.
Yeah.
It implies seeing beyond the present, understanding the threads of fate. But it also suggests a burden, a knowledge that can be both enlightening and tormenting.
So even in punishing Tiresias, Athena bestows upon him a gift that sets him apart, makes him more than just a man who angered a goddess.
It's a fascinating dynamic, and it connects to an even more disturbing myth, the story of Medusa.
Medusa, the beautiful woman who was raped by Poseidon in Athena's temple, a profound violation. And Athena, instead of punishing Poseidon, transforms Medusa into a horrifying Gorgon.
It's a shocking act, especially coming from the goddess of wisdom and justice. What are we to make of this?
Is it misplaced anger? A warped sense of justice? Or is there something more we're missing?
It's a question that has haunted scholars and artists for centuries. It challenges our understanding of Athena, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable possibility that even the wisest, most revered figures can make decisions that seem morally ambiguous.
That certainly throws a wrench into the simplistic good goddess image, doesn't it?
And it reminds us that these myths weren't meant to provide easy answers. They're meant to make us think, to question, and to grapple with the complexities of the human experience, even when it comes to the divine.
It really makes you realize that there's so much more to Athena than meets the eye. She's a puzzle, a paradox, and that's what makes her so captivating.
Absolutely. And the more we delve into these myths, the more we discover. It's a journey of constant revelation and reinterpretation.
Well, we've certainly begun to uncover some intriguing layers to Athena's story. From her unique birth and her role as a protector, to her complex relationship with war and the darker aspects of her personality. It's clear we've only just scratched the surface. It's amazing how one goddess can embody so many contradictions. We've talked about her connection to war and wisdom, but she's also associated with crafts and creation. You mentioned earlier that this wasn't just about war and strategy for her. It was about artistry and skill. And some of the sources you sent in dive into some of Athena's lesser-known talents. I was surprised to find a connection between Athena and musical instruments. I always think of music as Apollo's domain.
It's an interesting connection, isn't it? While Apollo is often seen as the god of music and poetry, some accounts actually credit Athena with the invention of certain instruments, like the flute and even the trumpet.
Wow, I had no idea. It makes you wonder if those stories are meant to highlight a different aspect of creativity, maybe a more structured, disciplined approach to music, which aligns with her strategic mind.
That's a great point. It suggests a connection to expression, but perhaps an expression that is carefully considered, crafted with precision, just like her approach to warfare or weaving.
It also makes you wonder if any myths or stories specifically link her to music. We've talked about the olive tree, the contest with Poseidon, even the rather grim tale of Arachne. Is there a story out there that features Athena as a musician?
That's a great question, and I have to admit I haven't come across any myths that depict her playing music directly, but it's a great avenue for further exploration. Maybe there's a hidden gem out there waiting to be discovered.
It would be fascinating to uncover a story that shows this musical side of Athena. Maybe one of our listeners has stumbled across something like that in their own research. But speaking of unexpected connections, there was another one that jumped out at me from the sources. Athena and snakes. What's the significance of that?
Well, snakes have held a lot of symbolic meaning throughout history and across various cultures. They often represent transformation, rebirth, even healing and knowledge.
So tying that back to Athena, it makes sense that a goddess of wisdom and strategic thinking would be associated with a creature that symbolizes knowledge and change.
Exactly, and there are even some depictions of Athena with the snake, either near her or coiled around her staff. Further emphasizing that connection, it's a reminder that wisdom isn't static. It's constantly evolving, shedding its skin, so to speak, and adapting to new situations.
That imagery really brings it to life. It's like the snake represents the constant potential for growth and renewal. That's at the heart of wisdom. It's amazing how these seemingly small details can add so much depth to our understanding of these figures.
It's a testament to the richness of these ancient myths. They're filled with layers of meaning, waiting to be uncovered and interpreted.
And even though they were created thousands of years ago, they still resonate with us today. Athena in particular seems to have a lasting legacy.
Oh, absolutely. Her image, her stories, they continue to inspire and intrigue us. Just think about how often Athena is referenced in art literature, even pop culture.
It's true. She pops up everywhere, from statues and paintings to books and movies. It seems like everyone, from artists to writers to filmmakers, wants to tap into her strength, her wisdom, her sense of justice.
I think it speaks to the power of these archetypal figures. They embody qualities that transcend time and culture, and they allow us to connect with something larger than ourselves.
And in Athena's case,
Hmm.
her enduring legacy speaks to our continued fascination with strategic thinking, with using our minds to overcome obstacles and achieve our goals.
And to do so in a way that benefits society, that promotes justice and fairness. It's not just about personal gain. It's about using your wisdom for the greater good.
Which is a pretty powerful message,
Yeah.
especially in today's world. It makes you wonder, if Athena were walking among us today, what causes would she champion?
That's a great question to consider. Would she be leading a tech startup, using her strategic mind to innovate and solve complex problems?
Or maybe she'd be at the forefront of a global peace initiative, using her diplomatic skills to resolve conflicts and promote understanding.
Or perhaps she'd be a fierce advocate for social justice, fighting for equality and using her wisdom to challenge systems of oppression.
It's fascinating to think about how her attributes might manifest in a modern context.
It challenges us to take everything we've learned about Athena and apply it to our own lives, our own understanding of the world.
And that brings us back to the heart of these deep dives, taking these ancient stories and making them relevant to our modern world.
It's about finding the threads that connect us across time and culture, and using those threads to create something new, something meaningful.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Athena, I think the biggest takeaway is that she's so much more than just a name in a mythology book. She's a symbol, a challenge, and a source of inspiration.
And a reminder that wisdom, strategy, and justice are qualities that are always worth striving for.
It's been a fascinating journey uncovering all these different facets of Athena. I feel like we've gone from a two-dimensional image of, goddess of wisdom and war to like a multi-layered complex figure.
That's the beauty of these deep dives, isn't it? We start with what we think we know, and then through exploration and discussion, we end up with a much richer understanding.
And it's not just about understanding the past, it's about connecting it to the present. You've brought up some great points about Athena's potential relevance in today's world. It's intriguing to think about how her attributes, her strategic mind, her sense of justice, her unwavering commitment to her goals could translate into modern-day leadership.
Imagine her in a boardroom, navigating complex negotiations with a combination of sharp intellect and unwavering integrity, or leading a scientific research team pushing the boundaries of knowledge with her relentless pursuit of understanding.
Or maybe she'd be a powerful voice for social change, advocating for those who are marginalized and fighting for a more just and equitable society.
It's exciting to consider all the possibilities, and it makes me wonder, what qualities do we as individuals admire in Athena? What aspects of her character resonate most strongly with us?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's her unwavering commitment to her goals. She sets her sights on something and pursues it with a combination of strategic thinking and relentless determination. And she doesn't let setbacks or obstacles deter her.
That's a valuable quality to have, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. Athena reminds us that we have the power to shape our own destiny, to fight for what we believe in, and to use our intellect and our will to make a positive impact on the world.
I also admire her ability to balance strength and wisdom. She's not afraid to use her power, but she always does so with a sense of purpose and a deep understanding of the consequences. It's a lesson for us all. True strength lies not in brute force, but in the ability to use our power wisely and justly.
It's about finding that balance between action and contemplation, between strategy and compassion. Athena embodies that ideal, and it's something we can all strive for in our own lives.
It's been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from Athena's dramatic birth and her role as a protector to her complex personality and her enduring legacy.
We've explored the myths, unpacked the symbolism, and even ventured into some fascinating what-if scenarios. It's been a true journey of discovery.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me, and hopefully for our listeners, is that Athena is so much more than a figure from ancient mythology. She's a source of inspiration, a challenge to our assumptions, and a reminder of the enduring power of wisdom, strategy, and justice.
And as we move forward in our own lives, let's all try to channel a little bit of Athena's spirit. Let's think strategically, act with purpose, and strive to make the world a more just and equitable place.
Well said. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Athena. It's been an absolute pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to our listeners, thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of Athena as much as we have. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking wisdom wherever you can find it.